Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing 5 different ideas that I would love to see in SSO. So to start off with a character and location Star Stable has currently forgotten about, and I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler warning in case you haven't reached the part in the main story where we need to cut a new Pandorian portal piece, and like when you're trying to get to Pandoria. I'm not going to go in depth about the story quest, but this is just in case you don't want any spoiler warnings for it. So in the main story, we meet Magnus Steiner when we have to cut a new Pandorian portal piece, and he was the stonecutter for John Jarl. And when we leave the stonecutter's vault, Magnus says that he would love to teach us more, or like something along those lines, that we are very talented and he would love to teach us more, but we have to continue the main story quest. So in my idea, we could go back to the vault in Dino Valley and learn more. And this could be a new progression system similar to Hollow Woods and the soul riding with Rianne. And we could learn more about stone cutting and blacksmith stuff and unlock new rewards. And I think it could give players another long-term reputation quest to work on for higher level players, since you'd have to be at the level where you meet Magnus. And for my idea, I would also bring back Conrad Mardison, who was a big fan of Magnus during the quest, and he is the blacksmith in Moorland, and he's been a friend to our character since we first arrived at Jorvik. So I think it'd just be really fun to have him back with us, and he could possibly be one of the people who teach us in the new paths about stone cutting. And maybe we could like make our own tack and like build it ourselves, and I think that'd be really cool. And we could also learn about the rune stones on Jorvik and some more lore about Jorvik. So my second idea is bringing Lone Star Canyon from the Summer Riders, and I think it'd just be a great addition to the island of Jorvik. So this area is more of like a desert, hot climate, and it could unlock a lot of cool things for players to explore, like new Western style races like raining and some other ones that I can't think of right now, but we could also unlock more Western tech and quests. And I think a really cool long-term gameplay idea similar to Hollow Woods would be that we would have our own pet cactus, and we would have to take care of it every day, and the more we take care of it, the more rewards that we can unlock. And something similar to this would be the divine horse Yggdrasil, and it's like the ancient life tree horse. So every time a player goes to heaven, the player earns points, and Yggdrasil gets older and you earn rewards. And it's a horse from the game horse. So obviously we're just taking care of a cactus every day, so it's not the same thing, but it's like the similar idea of how it works. So the older the cactus grows and it gets taller, and once it reaches 50 to 75 years, it starts to grow arms. So this could be similar to the Trailblazer track rewards, where it's like some of them are good, some of them are meh, and also mixed in with the Hollow Woods rewards where you unlock the quest line to get discounted magic horses, and mix that in with like the process of unlocking the Rune Runner. The horse that players could earn would be a new magic horse that is from this area, so maybe like a fire themed horse or a stand and statue horse I think would be really cool. Maybe this horse could also have a heat tolerance, which leads me to my next idea for this area. We could bring back the hot and cold tolerances to the game. So when entering Lone Star Canyon, there would be a heat tolerance that you would have to have a certain horse from the hotter climates that could tolerate this heat. And I would include our Jorvik starter horses so people wouldn't have to buy a specific horse. If SSO didn't want to include our starter horses for the heat and cold tolerance, they could add a new special flower and craftable item so horses would be able to tolerate heat for like 30 minutes. And maybe also a new plant for these special flowers to grow on that's like similar to the current special flowers that we have. And these plants could only be found in the hotter and colder climates. So players would have to like work towards getting the tolerance. So yeah, maybe they could be found in other areas, but not as much. So they wouldn't have to have a slow horse, but yeah, that's just what I'm thinking. So for my next idea for the Lone Star Canyon, we already have paleontology, which is the Dino Valley. Archaeology, they say it's archaeology, but it's actually paleontology because you're finding dinosaur bones, and the actual archaeology in New Hillcrest. I would love to see SSO bring in more archaeology reputation quests for the players to work through, and I would love to see them revamp this whole system to make it more engaging for the player, because currently right now we're just hitting the rocks and finding it. So maybe a more advanced way of finding dinosaur bones, like maybe we could have like a little brush and actually try and like find it, similar to Minecraft. I think that's the one, and you have to like find ancient sand or something like that. And I think that'd be really cool for Star Stable to just make it more engaging and difficult for the player to actually have to work towards it, because we're just watching our character hit the rock. So yeah, and I think also they could add really cool lore and maybe new lore books for the different places. So like New Hillcrest and Dino Valley, we could find lore books, and for Lone Star Canyon we could find lore books, and possibly this could be an ongoing reputation quest with discovering new areas on the island of Jorvik. We could have lore books for those new locations and new outfits for the different areas as well, because currently you can unlock the outfits for New Hillcrest, which is like an explorer kind of outfit, and the Dino Valley one, which is like a winter themed outfit, and it's like blue, white, and brown. So I think it'd be really fun to have separate outfits for every location. And also with archaeology and paleontology leads me to my next idea, and I think it'd be really fun if we could add a museum for all the players' findings and even previous collections that we've found. So if they add more, it could be like a different part of the museum. And technically we already have a museum in the game that they could use for this, and we visit this museum during the main story quest with Lisa, Alex, and Linda, where we retrieve Aideen's harp. And I would just love to bring it back, and maybe we could like build the dinosaur skeletons with the bones that we find, and maybe some of the other collections. I kind of forget all of them, but maybe there could be like a cool separate spot for those collections. And yeah, I think it'd just be really fun to have the museum. So, and like a new updated archaeology and paleontology system. So moving on to my next idea, it would be kind of like a home stable revamp, but we're not changing anything in the home stable. We're just adding a couple of things. So the first thing is something players have mentioned a lot, and it's having a paddock for your horses, and you could like see them out in the paddock like hanging out with each other. I think it'd be really cute. And I would love if SSO added the feature from the Horses mobile game where you can customize your paddock and possibly the outside of your home stable from the view of the paddock. And I think this one is like, I don't know, it'd be really cute because there's a whole bunch of different styles in that game, and I'll try and put them up. But yeah, I think it'd be a really cool, similar to like the customization in the home stable that we have currently. You can like change a whole bunch of features, but it's just like outside. So for my second idea is that we technically have a home on the island at the summer camp in Moreland, but it feels like a lot of us have been on Jorvik for way longer. So I would love to turn the upper part of the stable into like a mini apartment, kind of like how the Soul Riders have their own apartments. So Linda's is in Jarlaheim. Alex has hers in Jorvik City, and I don't think you can get into that one, but I know it's there. And I'll try and find the location and put it up for you guys so you can see. And Lisa has her own room at Starshine Ranch. I'm unsure where Anne lives, so if you know that, please comment down below. I couldn't find anywhere on the island where she lives. So yeah. And for our rooms, I would love to add like picture frames, and players could fill these picture frames with their own photos that they've taken in game, and maybe some posters from the previous game, so it could be like Easter eggs that the players could have, and maybe like find, so it could be like the more you find in the game you can add to your room. And I would also love more customization for our rooms, so like you could have different options for walls and the flooring, like the current home stable customization that we have. And I would also love to see us finally get that store in Yorvik City to buy stuff for our rooms. I think it'd be really cool. So for my last idea, I would love it if we could have a horse training revamp again. I know that we had one, I don't remember what year we got this in, but I do really enjoy the current horse progression system that we have now. I think it's really fun, and I just think that maybe it could be more advanced for the players to train their horses, because currently we just have to do the same races over and over again. Not that I don't love those races, I really do, but I think we could have more, you know? So for this new system, I think we could add different bars for different skills. So I'm going to use horse as an example of the different bars to level up. So the one example that I will use is dressage. Maybe our horses could have to learn different dressage moves, and you could only train them for so much in a day because it would be difficult. And the horses that are more skilled in dressage would have an easier time leveling up this bar. So not like every horse couldn't do it, but the horses that are more fit to do this skill than other horses. So for example, it would be the Dutch Warmblood, the Frisian, and the Lipizzaner, and a couple of others. I just can't name them off the top of my head. And with this new system, I would still keep the overall level that we currently have and the horse stats that we currently have. I would just add to it, and I just think that SSO can't take away things in the game. We already lack content, so I would just keep everything that we currently have and just add to it, and maybe keep the general championships that we have, so that would correlate with our overall horse level, and SSO could add specialized races and competitions for the different specific skills our horse would have, and new ribbons for the winners, and maybe like a mix between computer score and player voted winners for the different skills. So there could be like weekly competitions, and players could watch back performances and see what the computer scores were and judge them from there, like a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. And the computer judging would be similar to the show jumping course, where you would get penalties for messing up, and kind of like similar to that. So yeah, that's all I have for today. Hopefully you enjoyed, and let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.